We return mostly recovered, so let's start digging into the first edition Pathfinder Summoner spells. Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire, becoming a bit more unkempt as each day goes by and mostly recovered enough to start diving back into this being the first edition Pathfinder Summoner guide, today starting the spells portion of our guide. Now, as I'd mentioned a few weeks back, we are going to be shaking things up a little bit, making slightly longer videos to try to get through more content in order to get through these different classes faster. Just be aware that this is not an exhaustive list of every single last spell available to the summoner. These are going to be mainly contained towards, geared towards looking at some of their better to even great spells that no summoner would be sorry to have on their spell list. And it should be mentioned that while they are largely relegated to the conjuration school, they still have a wide number of other spells that are actually incredibly useful, and they do get a number of really good spells much earlier than other spellcasting classes do. This helps to make up for the fact that they are a 2/3 spellcaster, topping out at 6th level spells, so all the way around, really good stuff. But before we get into all of that, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den. Or if you've already gone on ahead and listed yourself on such an incredible roster of legendary heroes, then go on down there to hit the like button and share the video far and wide. And now we'll actually start talking about your spellcasting, and to begin with, summoners are prepared spellcasters, meaning they have to study and mentally prepare themselves to cast their selected spells the next day, with charisma as their spellcasting stat, and as mentioned before, a rather limited array of spells on their spell list, as well as spell slots they're able to cast them with. Many of your spells come from the conjuration school, so while you may not have an expansive list compared to, again, wizards and the like, you have one of the best sets of spells to pick from. And as mentioned, you're also a 2/3 spellcaster, topping out at 6th level spells, so you are going to want to exercise caution and plan ahead when casting, so as not to drain your spell options. But just remember, because you're using charisma as your main spellcasting stat, you're going to have a good charisma score. A good charisma score works pretty handy with skills like Use Magic Device, which can allow you to activate a wider array of magic items that will help to enhance your effectiveness on and off the battlefield. Whatever situation you may find yourself in as an adventurer, that particular skill with this good charisma score will help to expand the number of spells that you're able to throw out there, even if they're from items. But now, as for your actual spells, starting off with your 0 level spells, you're actually going to rely on these maybe more than some other full spellcasting classes would. Spells like Message. You affect one creature a level at 100 feet plus 10 feet per level to whisper a message that will traverse barriers to reach the recipient, or recipients as the case may be. This can be overheard by others, however, with a DC 25 perception check, and when you actually use this, you do have to mouth and whisper the words that you're wanting to send to the receiver of the message. So that's where the listening component, where somebody could overhear, kind of comes into play largely. But even still, this is still a great spell that will see use and utility even up into the higher levels, unless you have other more effective means of communicating. Next, though, is Detect Magic. You detect magic auras in a 60-foot cone area. The more rounds you focus, up to 3 rounds, the more information you will glean on each subsequent round of focus. So you can garner quite a bit of information, and this is going to be incredibly useful for Mainly a lot of investigative scenarios where you're trying to pick up on these different magic auras, but certainly in the midst of a fight or prior to one, this can still have some use, although a few rounds where you're concentrating and not attacking can be a bit problematic. But again, because you're bringing an Eidolon, you have the summon monster spell list. Hell, if your DM has allowed you to take the leadership feat, you have a couple of extra bodies on the field that can help to make up for the fact that maybe you're using detect magic to get a little bit more information. Although there's nothing wrong with just falling back on using dispel magic to just get rid of things and be done with it. Then we have read magic. For 10 minutes per level, you can read arcane and magic glyphs at a rate of 1 page per minute. This is what's going to help you get through different scrolls, different spell books, and the like. Start to work on identifying different magic items. This is going to be an incredibly helpful and useful skill for you, especially when it comes to, again, activating a wider range and array of spells that may not normally be on your spell list, ready at hand, using use magic device and the like. Then, going on from our 0 level spells, we start getting into our 1st level spells. And first and foremost, it's another classic, it's the grease spell. Create a layer of grease over a 10-foot square within 25 feet plus 5 feet every 2 levels, with reflex saves to avoid falling. Moving at half speed allows for acrobatic checks, however. Failing the acrobatic check requires a reflex save, while failing by 5 is an auto-fail. And the save, of course, being 10 plus the spell level, your spellcasting stats modifier. So, say you have a 15 total there. If they roll a 10, that's failing by 5, that's an auto-fail. Absolutely a very useful spell, especially early on where you may not have the widest array of battlefield control. This will definitely help with that. Use it on a set of stairs and watch the people tumble. Then we have Enlarge Person. Takes 1 round to cast and lasts 1 minute per level. Enlarge one humanoid creature to the next size category. This gives a +2 to strength, a -2 penalty to dex, or a -1 size to AC. The target will occupy a 10-foot space and have a 10-foot reach. So, given that this is supposed to be targeting a humanoid creature, that can limit some of your options, but I would still say this is going to be an incredibly useful buff to have. Now, if you go with the more humanoid Eidolon, I think that makes this pretty reasonably clear that this can be used on them. But if not, then you can still use this on a number of different allies. Your party's fighter, the paladin, the barbarian, the cavalier. You have a wide array of options available to you in that regard, and this is going to more than pay for its use over and over again. The next option, though, that you definitely want for yourself, and especially for your Eidolon, is Mage Armor. Touch target creature, and for 1 hour a level, they gain a +4 armor bonus to their AC. Because it's a force effect, incorporeal creatures can't just bypass it. Normally, they're able to bypass most physical barriers, but because this is just raw, kinetic force formed around them protectively, they can't get through it. So, this makes it incredibly useful, especially for your Eidolon, who may not have the greatest armor class bonus. Much in the same vein, we have Magic Fang. Touch target creature, and for 1 minute a level, they gain a +1 enhancement bonus on one natural weapon or unarmed strike, adding a to-hit bonus and damage, and overcoming damage reduction requirements, like for incorporeal creatures. Now, while your Eidolon may end up with multiple natural attacks that they're able to use, if you throw this down on their strongest one, say a bite attack, this bite will be able to deal full damage to creatures, gain a +1 bonus to hit and to damage, and you'll be able to affect incorporeal creatures. Absolutely great. Another one that's worth the spell slot to have and to use on your Eidolon. Then we come around to 2nd level spells, to Lesser Evolution Surge. Grant your Eidolon 2 evolution points to acquire an evolution they don't already have and meet the requirements for. The one exception is this can be used to upgrade an evolution where that's applicable. So, if your if you're selecting an evolution that has successive increasing steps that cost more and more points, and this 2-point bonus that you grant here with this spell will allow them to reach that, then you can do that. And this is absolutely great. This opens up a whole array of options for you, a veritable panoply of mutations and evolutions that you can apply to this mighty creature that you're able to conjure up with just a wave of your hands and a word from your lips. Absolutely fantastic. And the next spell here is a great one. It's Haste. You get this early, and it's supremely good for you. Select one creature or level, no two of which can be more than 30 feet or more apart, and grant them +1 to attack, armor class, and reflex save bonus, plus 30 feet movement, and an extra attack at their full attack bonus. So again, another one, great for your Eidolon, great for the party's fighter, the barbarian, the paladin, all of those melee creatures that are going to be up close and personal with the opponents. They are going to absolutely love you for this spell, and the fact that you have this on hand is great. I can't think of a single summoner build that would be better off without this, or okay without this. You're always going to be better for having it. The next second level spells that we come to include Barkskin. Touch target creature to grant a +2 natural armor bonus, increasing by +1 for every 3 levels above 3rd, maxing out at a +5 at level 12. This will stack with existing natural armor, but not other enhancement bonuses to your natural armor. So eventually this will outclass mage armor, especially once you hit that +5 bonus. So this will supersede that, but this is one that's great, but you don't really have to worry about grabbing right away. If you were to pick this up at 8th level, you will probably be more than okay. Hell, 9th level is fine as well, especially since, well, 9th level is when you're hitting that +4 bonus. So when you get to that point, you can pick this up and worry less about mage armor. Then we also have Glitter Dust, another classic. You coat an area within 100 feet plus 10 feet a level, and for 1 round a level, a 10-foot spread area and all creatures or objects in it will be coated in gold particles, revealing invisible targets, including objects, and blinding them, with a will save to negate the blindness. So if you're dealing with invisible threats, this is of course a very useful spell. To top it off, the potential for blinding them is great, but there is no save against the glitter effect. You just can't get rid of it. We all know this at this point, especially if you have children. You're never going to get rid of the glitter. The blindness you can maybe avoid, but everything else, yeah, you can see the utility of this. It's fantastic. And again, you can find hidden objects with this. Any objects hidden by invisibility are of course going to be revealed. So have at it, have fun. It's a great spell to have. But we go on from there to bigger and better spells, 3rd level spells, where a lot of folks agree that this is where spellcasters start to really run amok in terms of their power. And you get Greater Magic Fang at this level, where you select 1 living creature within 25 feet plus 5 feet every 2 levels. They get a +1 enhancement bonus to attack and damage every 4 caster levels, topping out at a +5. This lasts 1 hour a level and can be made permanent. So, what we talked about earlier with Magic Fang, you're only able to affect 1 natural attack. Yeah, your Eidolon may not have more than 5 natural attacks, or if they do, good on you, fantastic there, but this will let you get multiple enhancement bonuses on multiple natural attacks, allowing them to overcome quite a few damage reduction limitations that might be there, as well as helping their chances of hitting the target and dealing damage to them overall. Then, after Greater Magic Fang, we have Greater Invisibility. Touch target creature or object weighing 100 pounds per level to make them invisible. Works like invisibility, except attacking doesn't end the effect. So again, really great. This is going to be very useful for your slayers, your rangers, rogues, vigilantes. They are going to absolutely adore having this buff placed upon them, and it's definitely well worth considering. Hell, this can be great for your Eidolon as well. You can be able to have them run amok and cause all kinds of havoc and remain comparably undetected by your opposition. Hell, I mean, this is going to be just great for sneaking in, infiltrating, and scouting. So absolutely a great spell with lots of utility, lots of opportunities for you to make use of this. And then next we have Black Tentacles. Pick a 20-foot radius within 100 feet plus 10 feet per level. Black Tentacles erupt and grapple your foes. The combat maneuver bonus is your caster level +4, and escaping has a DC of 10 plus the combat maneuver bonus. Grappled opponents can't move and take 1d6 +4 damage each round. The terrain affected by the spell counts as difficult terrain and lasts 1 round per level. So while the duration isn't the best, this is still incredible battlefield control. It affects a huge area, you have a good range with it, and the fact that it's using your caster level +4 as the combat maneuver bonus and not your own attack bonus is huge. Absolutely great. This is basically your level +4. It's as if you had the full attack bonus progression, meaning you're going to likely be able to grapple many targets. There's only going to be a handful that really escape this, and while those might be the most dangerous ones, the fact that you're able to get a lot of the chaff, the lesser enemies out of the way, and are able to allow you and your party to focus your power and abilities on smaller numbers of targets with that concentration of force is going to help ensure that you come through and out on top of whatever combat encounters you may be finding yourselves in. Then, going on from there, we have Dimension Door, another classic. Teleport yourself and touch objects or willing creatures to a point within 400 feet plus 40 feet a level, which is extreme range. Limited to either your max load for objects or 1 creature for every 3 caster levels. You will teleport to open spaces. Occupied spaces will shunt you off to the side and deal increasing damage the further you have to be moved, and it's nothing to be sneezed at, so definitely make sure you're picking an open area that can accommodate you, whatever you're sending along with you, whether it's an object or your allies. Make sure you have enough room for all of you to be there, or bad things will happen. Definitely look up the spell to see further details on the kind of damage that can be dealt to you. But with that said, this is just a taste of the number of spells available to you. There's certainly many others with varying degrees of effectiveness available to them. This is probably a more choice selection of the best ones out of the bunch, but certainly let me know what you think down below. Did you like today's video? Did you dislike it? Are there any other spells that you might recommend to any aspiring summoners out there? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and we'll engage in discussion. Remember to hit those like or dislike buttons, and if you're new here to the channel, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member. But with all that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.